Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the right time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by Prize Picks. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. I'm hoping that we'll talk a bit about John Calipari making his move to Arkansas. I am not going to lie. I've been beside myself all morning. I cannot, Sean, we talked about this a little earlier, me and you. I can't believe how furious I am with what happened with J.Cole last night at this concert. I'm legitimately mad at this.
The first thing you said when you came on to record ads earlier was just, I am fuming. I am furious.
I am furious right now. And it's like, I'm mad. I can't tell if I'm madder at him than the people that's like, all right, all I'm gonna say is this, right? That's all I'm gonna say. I think J. Cole's a really good rapper, had a very good interview with him about 12 years ago, and I'm gonna just make this point and then I'm gonna move on. I went to a concert that he did, I wanna say it was in Greensboro. I think it was in Greensboro, okay? Yeah, it was 2012. And I'll just never forget, he did a very good job performing. He had a live band. I kind of saw the vision of what he was doing. But at some point, I saw that young man sit on a stool in a Letterman's jacket and start rapping about paying for a woman's abortion. And it was that day right then that I realized rap was new. Rap was at a place that it hadn't really like, whoa, I mean, he just sat there and he was like, rap different and he did some old different shit. But I can't let suckerific behavior go before we start talking about greatness and champions, right? Because that's what would happen if I started talking about that shit that J. Cole pulled, because that's suckerific behavior. But we going to go and start now and send a shout out to the South Carolina Gamecocks. Sean, I have a real question for you. I need you to help me out with this, right? By definition, a Lady Gamecock doesn't exist.
Yeah, it seems contradictory.
Just checking. I was just trying to figure it out because we don't put lady in front of the mascots anymore. Like I had never really given consideration to just how gender specific these things were. Like I'm not trying to say that South Carolina need to turn their whole situation upside down. I'm just saying that don't really make no sense to me. Anyway, they went undefeated the whole year, and then they played against Caitlin Clark and them yesterday. I had a couple things that went on in that game that made me feel like a bit of an old person. Now, one of them I have come to find out over the course of time, y'all agree with me about, okay? And that is, if there's anything about the NBA that I hate right now, it might be my least favorite thing about the whole goddamn NBA. It is looking like an AAU tournament where anybody might be wearing any goddamn thing on any given game, no matter where the hell it is that they playing, right? I'm fairly rigid about this, and I think that this is what it should be. You wear white at home, you wear a color on the road, unless you're the Lakers, then you wear the yellow joints at home, and then you wear the purples on the road. That's how I think that this is supposed to go. This has always been the way that I thought it was supposed to go. It made things so much easier, but it's another level to it that dawned on me in the course of watching this game between Iowa and South Carolina. And that is when you're in a tournament situation, the team in white, we have an easy, clear mnemonic device. They are the favorites. We have an easy, clear mnemonic device about the team in the color. They are the underdogs, right? Y'all not supposed to win. That's just kind of how it works. I think we'd all agree about that, right? Y'all not supposed to win. And so to me, as a viewer and just watching and seeing Iowa in the black, as much as we talk about Caitlin Clark, it was kind of an interesting reminder in some ways that like, hey, she's really good. They've been really good, but they not supposed to win this game, okay? Like, I hate that so much of the legacy play, like I know we're talking about like a legacy as a college player, but I feel like when you start throwing the word legacy out and you start asking somebody 22 years old about their legacy, shouldn't that make you feel like a fucking idiot? You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't just be me. Like, you are asking 22-year-olds to consider what their legacies are. They don't know the words. It's preposterous. But anyway, you're watching that game and I was in the black. They're not supposed to win. It's the other team that's undefeated. They the ones that's supposed to win. And Iowa clipped them and got them in the semifinal last year, right? This was the revenge tour for South Carolina. And you got out there and early, Iowa was running them. Because one thing I enjoy about watching them that I've noticed, because look, I'm not going to lie to you. I ain't been watching these games. I showed up for the tournament, baby. Anyway, the thing that I noticed about Iowa that I enjoy, and maybe it came from watching 18 years of Roy Williams basketball at North Carolina, but I like a team that goes. I love a team that goes. I honestly don't understand why more basketball teams don't take this as the fundamental approach, which is we're going to beat you down the floor every time, right? Like, you realize how mentally exhausting it is for a team where you feel like you got something going. Oh, boom, we just made a basket. Bow. The ball is already at the other three-point line. Within 2 seconds, you getting this down the other way. And that's how they was moving with Clark. Like, all right, cool, we're going to get this ball going down here, and you get this down here in like 6 seconds, and now you converge on her, and there's somebody else that kept on running. They're going right to the basket. Like, they was moving. That first half it felt as crisp as a basketball game could have, and Iowa got that big lead. South Carolina kind of took it back, and the longer and longer it went, you just realized one of these teams is a lot better than the other one. One of these teams got 2 starting fives. The other team got this one girl.
Yeah, you mentioned like that first half, and I think it changed when Don Staley was like, well, let me just play this bench lineup that's just as good, if not better, than the rest of the 4 on the court, and Iowa's playing maybe 7 deep.
Yeah, it's basically like Don Stanley come out here like, this one or that one, right? Like it doesn't really matter, right? Like, which shirt do you think I should wear? You think I should wear the one with the stripes or the one with the dots? Either way, they both fire, right? They both Louis. Which one of them do you think that I should put on? That just seemed like what they did with the whole squad. And Sean, it was interesting you mentioned them being 7 deep. I couldn't even tell if it was 7, bro. When they put that stat up at one point, I don't know how it went at the end, but they put a stat up at one point saying that South Carolina's bench was outscoring Iowa 36-0.
I'm pretty sure it stayed that way. I'm pretty sure there was 0 bench points for Iowa.
Yes. Although I think it was South Carolina. I wish it was Iowa. Sean, I don't know if you noticed this. And I mean, this is something that I've talked about for a very long time. It's a very important player or member on just about every team. The last truly prominent one that I remember was in Golden State, because I don't think the Thanasis does this. But do you remember when Kent Bazemore played for the Warriors and he was, I don't know, like, do you get voted the DAP master? Or do you just gravitate toward the position of the DAP master? Is this like, do you decide that you're the DAP master, or are you called to the front? I don't know how exactly it works, but I watched, and one of them teams had a certified DAP master. I think it was South Carolina. And when the starting lineup was going through the line, it was different DAP for every player. And I had never considered that, like, women's basketball also had a DAP master.
It seems vital.
But I saw a DAP master.
Seems like every team needs one.
It's great for morale. Everybody loves the DAP master. Like, I don't know if you, like, in your own actual life, Sean, I get the feeling that Cornell didn't really have a DAP master, right?
Well,
but,
I wasn't smart enough for the Ivies. I was Ithaca College, but yeah, no DAP masters. But everyone I know loves a good DAP, especially when you get that good pocket of the sound, where it's extra loud and extra clear. That's when you know it's like you got something going on.
Gotta be honest with you, Sean, my fault. I didn't know Ithaca had another college. I'm sure you was too good for that. And by the way, glad you made it out of Ithaca. You know what I'm saying? I heard about that. I'm aware. I'm aware.
It's cold.
But I went to college. We had a dude named Kirk Henry I went to college with. I love Kirk. If I'm not mistaken, by the way, fun fact, I think his middle name was Aloysius. Anyway, Kirk was a certified DAP master. I had never met anybody like Kirk in my life before. Kirk showed up in 1997 with a herringbone chain, with a gold tooth in his mouth, and with a panther. Like the panther just laying like that. You know what I'm saying? Like all the time. He would walk around campus with a safety vest on, sometimes with a shirt underneath, sometimes not. But anyway, Kirk had DAP for everybody in the dorm. I don't know how Kirk was able to remember that he had DAP, a different DAP, for everybody in the dorm. And I got to tell you, everybody was always happy when Kirk showed up, man. DAP master brings joy. My homeboy John, God rest his soul, he is a DAP master, but he was a different DAP master, right? He was just a warm dude who enjoyed giving people DAP as an expression of his warmth, right? He wasn't really particular. He didn't have that much science behind his DAP, right? But Kirk had it. Everybody's happy for the DAP master. And I saw that DAP master out there, had different DAP for everybody. One of the DAPs who went up a couple times, and then they made a heart together. You know what I'm saying? Again, women's basketball dap. I don't feel like, although these boys, who knows, but I don't feel like they be making the heart daps when the dap master in the line, right? I feel like, and I couldn't see who the dap master was, so I could be wrong. I feel like the dap master is always the most self-aware person on the team. Like the dap master is the one who looked at themselves, looked at the lineup, looked at the box score, looked at the practices, looked at everything else, and realized their contribution was going to be dap.
Someone on YouTube commented, LeBron is also a dap master, which I do think that is why he is such a good leader.
Gotta say, big part of his leadership. And let me tell you something, man. Shout out to LeBron. That right there on one level is the extra mile, right? Like you are going so far to show people that you care about them, even as the star, but you don't have to, that you got a different dap for everybody else. There's also a counterpoint, man. Leave some jobs to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody else on the team, like, damn, because I was actually thinking to myself, maybe there's some star player who really had a calling as a dap master, but they never got their chance because they was just too good. And LeBron, like, no. I got to go out here and be the dap master. And there's somebody at the end of the bench. Let them be the dap master. I would also like to point out, I don't know if we got any pioneers out here in the streets, right? Anybody who's thought about this, but it is not too late for you to come down from the Caucasus Mountains, learn some dap, and make that your contribution. Like, if you could come with some Caucasus dap and spread that around, man, they'll start writing features about you in the goddamn Wall Street Journal, right? If we get a good, solid white dap master, it could be. What was that woman's name on South Carolina? Chloe? Sean, I gotta be honest. Didn't know South Carolina had a Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe Kitts. She had 11 and 10.
I did not know. I didn't know they had a Chloe. I was hoping she would sound like just a little bit different when she started talking, right? I was hoping just a little bit, but I'm like, okay, cool. There we go. I imagine that she learned a lot about the world in the course of that. Yeah, no, she's Chloe. Like, I looked at first and I was like, oh, okay, this could go many ways, right? But nah, just, not a little more Chloe than I was looking for. I gotta admit. But great game. Was a great game, Sean. I was thinking about this too. Cardoso, the 6'7" woman that plays for South Carolina. Like, I was just like, oh, I didn't know we had a Zach Edey over here too.
She completely dominated that game. There were a lot of second chance points that I thought swung the game for South Carolina, and I tweeted like she was inevitable. Like any rebound that was a game, momentum shifter was all for her.
Yeah. What were you supposed to do? Like, that's all I'm saying. What was anybody? That's what I feel like when UConn's go play Purdue tonight with Edey. I'm just like, I know he's not an NBA player, right? I feel very confident watching if he's not an NBA player. But I also know in watching these games, I don't know what any of these guys are supposed to do with him. I can't believe they ever lost a game.
It's like that thing Richard Jefferson said on a pod, how they just hired big men to foul Shaq back in the day. And it's like, yes. I guess if UConn's deep enough, they just got to have people to foul Edey.
Yeah, no, man. No, it was, I admit, and this is kind of an interesting transitionary period for women's basketball, that I admit that I don't pay close enough attention to give you like a level of, we'll call it analysis, that I could give you about the NBA or the NFL or anything else, right? Like, I'm not there. I'm at that place where I come in, I treat it not exactly the same, kind of similar as I treat the World Cup. I know people talk about it, but I talk about it in the terms that I understand and to go with it, right? But so much of the story, I feel like, that surrounds this game and the interest and the ratings are going to be a big deal. And it was very interesting for me to watch, like, the women who are on the broadcast for all of this. This is such a celebratory moment for them that, like, the nuts and bolts of the basketball are almost a secondary thing, right? This feels like last year to me felt like the moment that the women's tournament really arrived in the big time, at least in terms of mainstream sports discussion. And this seemed to be the carryover. And next year is going to be the test because there's not going to be a Caitlin Clark. So we're going to see how much the interest gens up, how much the things that people care about goes beyond the players and goes to the franchises that were there. However, we also got a taste on Friday with that obvious moving screen that I just have no idea why people don't want to act like it was a moving screen, right? Like what are we talking about here? She went like this with a leg out and her arm. Like, this is a moving screen. And all the back and forth, all the argument, everything else. And I was just like, oh, man, this is starting to feel like men's sports. And I've been telling y'all for years, y'all don't really want us to show up here, right? What you got is this healthy thing, right? What you got is this thing that feels something close to the way that it's supposed to be. What you got is a thing where they play the final game in an arena instead of a dome. You got all of these things. I promise you do. And the rest of us are coming, and we gonna fuck some shit up. That is what we're going to do. Cool. By the way, Sean, somebody in the chat room just said it was a flop. Don't go there, Bomani. And I'm just telling you right now, nobody's flopping running around the screen on that possession at that point of the game.
Also, if you watch the whole game, that was something the refs kept looking for because they kept doing that kind of illegal screen motion or that motion at the top of the key. And it was something they were looking for. I'm sure they warned them towards the end of the game and they just did it again. So it's like, what is the ref supposed to do?
I hate illegal screens so much. I hate them. I'm going to say one last thing about Caitlin Clark. She has this very Steph-like quality that I don't think gets enough credit. And that is she is a really good passer on top of being that shooter. So, like, the thing with Steph, when Steph was at Davidson, you could see the passing, but it didn't really come up because with the people he was playing with, he had to take all the shots. You know what I mean? This one, like, you would see that. You get the ball up to her, and they got to guard her at 30, and her pass game is strong. Like, I don't know how good a WNBA player that she's going to be, but her game is a lot more well-rounded than I think it can look like if you just popping in and all you do is see her shooting from the parking lot.
Yeah, you mentioned, like, Iowa took advantage of the fast break, and a lot of it was because Caitlin Clark's outlet passes. I mean, she was just dialed from distance with those passes. I mean, almost QB-like.
Yes, I'd also like to make this point, by the way, that I had got on the tweets and I asked people during the game. So you watch the game in mixed company. How's that working out? Right? And I had all these people, we're not all a bunch of racists, da-da-da-da-da, and everything else, da-da-da. Whatever, man. Y'all can't have no fun with anything, can y'all? Because I'm just asking you this. Sean, you help me out. You tell me. You find one white person that was rooting for LSU or South Carolina when it came to this game?
Not really.
I ain't seen it. And look, Caitlin Clark's so big. She's such a big deal. Where are the white haters at? White people good at being haters. I ain't seen a white hater pop up not one time. Tom Brady had haters. Peyton Manning had haters. I ain't see hater the first on the Caitlin Clark situation. I ain't seen it.
I don't know if you saw this. There was a clip of the Miami Heat social team asking the Heat players who they favored, South Carolina or Iowa, and it was a classic, like, case of race where all the black players on the team were South Carolina, and guys like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero were like Caitlin Clark all the way.
Oh, Tyler Hero went with Caitlin Clark, huh?
I think he did. I'll try to pull that up for you.
Oh, okay. All I'm saying is this. I thought Iowa and Wisconsin was supposed to be some kind of rivals, right? Oh, okay. I ain't gonna lie. I went to my brother's house. His wife was from Wisconsin. I was like, so, who you got? I was thinking you being from Wisconsin, you would root against Iowa. And she was like, yes, maybe if I was in Wisconsin, but we're out of the Midwest, so I'm rooting for Iowa. And I was like, I knew it would be something. One way or another, I knew that's what it was going to be. But anyway, Sean, I tried not to be... Okay. I'm going to say this right fast about Cal. and then go. All right? Sean, what happened there at Kentucky is very simple, and everybody needs to know it. This ain't about results. I mean, it's kind of about results, but not really. This ain't about tournament finishes or anything else. When something like this happens, where a guy like him goes from Kentucky to Arkansas, and Arkansas is still a good job, and I think in the NIL world, it might be a very good job, because what Arkansas has is a disproportionate amount of really rich people. And so you take Cal, you put all that together, and, you got it, right? But that's what happens when they are sick of you and your shit. That's all that comes down to, right? Because in the end, they've had tournament struggles, obviously, right? Like they had the 2 first-round losses or whatever it is. They've had that. Got you. Those kind of stretches happen to just about every very good coach at just about every job. Roy Williams had a stretch like that where they just didn't get there for whatever reason and was struggling to get out of the first round, not getting past the Sweet 16, whatever it is. These things happen, especially after COVID and now everything got all thrown off, right? Those things happen. That man is gone because they don't want him to be there anymore, and he does not want to be there anymore. The thing to keep in mind is that he has had that job longer than anybody's had that job since Rupp. Like, you go look it up. I don't think Joe B. Hall didn't have that job that long. Eddie Sutton obviously didn't. Patino didn't stay that long. Tubby didn't stay that long, okay? But when a guy goes from a job like Kentucky to a job like Arkansas, they are sick of your shit. And this is where it's also different. Tubby left under very similar circumstances and went to Minnesota, okay? When Tubby left and Tubby went to Minnesota, time was up and everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. Time was up. And so kind of similar to Shaka Smart going to Marquette, though Shaka Smart going to Marquette was much more of a this job is a better fit for you, and obviously it has been. You've seen the results. They could get somebody, Chris Beard at first before, all that happened, was a better fit for Texas. Like, all of that was clear. They just got sick. They got sick of Cal, and Cal got sick of them. And now it's over. And now he's going to Arkansas, and it's probably going to wind up being a big win for everybody. And my personal opinion, as somebody who doesn't follow this as close as they used to, you hire Nate Oates because it'll be fun. That's what I'm here for, right? It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Cal's going to have to figure this part out, though, and this is very interesting and it has to be thought about, is the idea that it's better to have more talent than anything else. Does that hold? Absolutely. And it doesn't seem to hold absolutely anymore. Let me tell you who else is going to need to figure that out, though, and nobody talks about it. Duke. Krzyzewski overhauled their whole approach, starting with the 2010-2011 season when they brought in Kyrie Irving, right? Overhauled the whole approach, and that's when they went to the one and dones. They went to Kyrie, they went to Austin Rivers, Jabari Parker. You can go up and down the line, and that's when the way they changed everything happened. They won a national championship in 2015. But the bottom line is, if you compare the ultimate results that they had from that era to the same time period going back the other way, the results were basically the same. They were. Now, what I do think, what Kentucky didn't want to be, and what it felt like Kentucky was a little bit, was you watch the playoffs, and you go, like last year, once you got deep in the playoffs, like to the second round, even before that, everybody had 1 or 2 Kentucky players on the team. Nobody gets you ready for the NBA better than John Calipari, period. But everybody had those guys, and it was that place. But what you don't want to be, and what it felt kind of like it was, and this next school is a much smaller example, but you'll feel me. In a 10-year period, the University of Pittsburgh in football had Larry Fitzgerald, Shady McCoy, Darrelle Revis, and Aaron Donald. All right, we're the worst of those players. The one that might not make the Hall of Fame is LaShawn McCoy. Right? It became the place where you go and you be like, yo, they're going to get me ready for the league, but y'all going 8-4 if you're lucky. Right? You're not winning the Big East, like all those things. Kentucky's not a place where they're happy being that. They are okay with a bunch of regular-ass dudes that win championships or win or whatever. Like, they feel warmth about the teams more so than the players. And Cal had been about the players, and Cal was getting these guys to the NBA, and he was the dude that said it was the best day in Kentucky basketball history, and all those dudes went to the NBA, and that's not who those people are. And they were cool with it when they won a lot, and then once they won winning a lot, they were sick of his shit. Speaking of being sick of this shit, Sean, okay, this is what happened last night. I held out as long as I could. Okay?
I was waiting. I had the clip ready and everything.
I've been furious all day long. So, Kendrick Lamar sent the shots on that Future Metro Boomin album, right? Sent some shots to Drake, sent some to Kendrick Lamar. Everybody been looking at Drake like, where you at? When you gonna come with something? And apparently, J.Cole had his album. He was getting it ready, right? He was getting it cracking, and he put on a track that's got some shots at Kendrick, right? And he dared send shots at To Pimp a Butterfly. Did he call it mid, Sean? Is that what he called it?
Pretty much, he called it boring.
He called it mid. He called it boring. Okay, so J. Cole does his little festival, Dreamville in Raleigh every year. Shout out to him for that. Like, I think that's a really dope thing that he does. People enjoy going to it. And J. Cole got on stage, and we have edited. You got the 2-minute version, right?
It's like a minute. It's a little less. Yeah.
Okay, you got the 1 minute. All right. So anyway, so J. Cole sent his shots at Kendrick, and then at his festival, he did this.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I moved in a way that I feel spiritually feel bad on me. Like I try to jab my nigga back, and I try to keep it friendly. But at the end of the day, when I listen to it and when it comes out and I see the talk, that shit don't sit right with my spirit. That shit make me feel, that shit disrupts my fucking peace. So what I want to say right here tonight is in the midst of me doing that and in that shit, trying to find a little angle and downplay this nigga's fucking catalog and his greatness, I want to say right now tonight, how many people think Kendrick Lamar is one of the greatest motherfuckers to ever touch a fucking microphone? Dreamville, y'all love Kendrick Lamar, correct? As do I. So I just want to come up here and be like, publicly be like, bruh, that was the lamest, goofiest shit. And I say all that to say, it made me feel like 10 years ago when
You thought that was goofy? If that was goofy, what the fuck you think this was? Sean, what's wrong with y'all?
Insane. To do that at your own festival.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. No, this is what we do, okay? This is what we do. Rest in peace to Vontae Davis. Vontae Davis passed away last week, Sean. And I don't know if you remember this once, but Vontae Davis once retired in the middle of an NFL game. You remember that?
One of truly the greatest NFL moments ever, where he just realized it's not for me.
He said his heart wasn't in it, and he retired. Why didn't you retire? That's all I'm asking, right? Like if your heart ain't, this is what it is, man. This is what it's supposed to be. And this man who is super dope and at top of the game, and by the way, done it his way by and large. He's pulled off a career that I think is fascinating. I said when he got started, and I didn't mean this is shade, this is the truth. He was making refund check music. I didn't know nobody could really start a rap career by making music for people who was cashing their refund checks. He made refund check music, and he parlayed it, and he took it all these places, and he's super dope, and he's got all of this going, and what I feel like something that sports and music have in common, and I think it's very important, man, is we want to know y'all care. You know what I mean? We want to know y'all care. And the way we show you care and what we want to know that you care about in rap, at least people like me, and maybe not everybody else, I want to know that you care about being better than everybody else. I really, really do. This is a thing to me. I don't care how much money you got. I wouldn't worry about that if I was that. Nah. Get the fuck out of here with all of that. To quote the great Pimp C, I remember when a rapper was a go-getter. And I feel like the next bar is starting to qualify about far too many people. I want to see these cats go back and forth. I don't see how you can't battle somebody without it affecting your spirit. You be out here calling them bitches left and right. That don't seem to hurt your soul too much, but getting into a little lyrical pugilism somehow, no. And by the way, that album was too long and kind of boring. This was maybe the most frustrating thing in the world to me, is he had opened up the door for us to finally have an honest conversation about that sad, long album. I'm not saying that it wasn't dope in places. I'm not saying it didn't have moments. I'm not saying that Kendrick Lamar is not an incredible MC who had a great vision that he put out there. I'm just saying that album don't make me feel good. I was just watching a Stevie Wonder concert before I got started, and I was like, wow, Stevie music make everybody feel so happy and feel so good. Kendrick Lamar, he make me feel like he went to a church with no music and no windows.
When's the last time you've actively wanted to listen to Pimp a Butterfly verse maybe
the
Kick in
year
That
it
City?
Came out.
Right.
The year it came out. I got all them other Kendrick records on vinyl, by the way. I got the Untitled Unmastered on vinyl. Man, I ain't bringing that sadness into my house. I guess it ain't really sadness. It just feels stern. Maybe that's what it is, right? It just feel kind of stern. And we were set to talk about it, right? You could have playful diss lines. Damn, Kendrick, don't you ever have any fun? Right? You could come talk about this. Does it ever sound like that dude's having any fun? I've seen him live, like on video and stuff like that, and he put on a live show. He really, really do. It just don't never sound like he's having any fun. You can't make no raps about that. Also, from what I can tell, and you can tell me I'm wrong, he doesn't appear to be the tallest fellow. You telling me you couldn't come up with no with no raps about that? That wouldn't hurt your soul? I know that some of y'all are saying, Bomani, it's wrong for you to pick on people for being short. They can't control that. Too late, dog. I used to be short too, and then I rose above that, all right? Get you some Wheaties, get you some milk, the whole milk, the one that got all the vitamins, and maybe you could have done that too. Look, I picked myself up by my bootstraps to go from 5'4" to 6'3" in 4 years. You could have done the same. That's all I'm saying. You had many of the options that I had too. Or hey, you know what? Let me stop tripping, right? Maybe I just got better parents, right? I know it's a little sensitive place, right? It's a little touchy thing, but I'm just saying, you could have talked about that if you had wanted to. We had all of this, but in the same way, that man did not have to apologize to Nas. Did he apologize to Nas that one time?
He might have, yeah. I got this Punch TDE reply if you want to check it out.
Yeah, okay. So he says here, Cole is a very genuine guy. I respect it. We often give in to external pressure and outside influences and act out of our own character. It's rare to have enough heart to make the correction. It didn't align with him, so he fixed it in the same manner he engaged. Salute. I would also like to note that before that, Punch sent a tweet that said, and I quote, LOL.
I thought, when I saw that, I was like, oh, they're going to keep the heat going.
Dog, what is all this maturity? Like somebody sent me, it was Kenny Stills. I rock with Kenny Stills, obviously, man. That dude done a lot of good work, right? Put it on the line in some significant ways. And Kenny Stills was like, yo, it ain't sit right with his spirit. His inner peace is not more important than us wanting rap. And I'm like, look, y'all, I do yoga too. You know what I'm saying? But I can get off the mat and get ready to hear some vicious battle raps. This is what I want to hear. I'm sorry. Like this is, I don't want to be in a place where this game does not have that level of competition. And what seems so clear to me, Sean, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Kendrick ain't got no problems with these dudes.
For him, it's the sport, right? I've always thought with him, when he gets into this beef, it's the sport. And you mentioned the sport aspect of it. I think a Kobe, a Jordan, a LeBron would prefer if someone else came out and said, I'm the greatest, not you, for the competitive aspect, and not say, oh, I love you, I respect you, your albums are great.
Yes. Let me tell you who wouldn't let this slide. None of the ladies that's up top in the game right now.
Absolutely not.
I don't think Glow gonna let this go. Personally, I don't think. I mean, I tell you who definitely wouldn't have let it slide. Nicki Minaj. That's what we need. That's what Kendrick. If Kendrick, Kendrick, you try to get somebody to rap back and forth with you, you're gonna need to send one to Nicki, because I guarantee you, she'll say something about you being short. Don't you worry about that. You want somebody to give you a workout. You want somebody to get lathered up. Send some of them shots over there at the barbs. It'll get real as steel in here if you go. That's where he got it wrong. He out here worried about these dudes, right? Like no. You made a mistake. He been waiting on Drake. Look, man, I don't blame Drake if he don't want to do this again. The last time Drake, here's why Drake can't do this. You know what it is? It's very simple. It's not even so much that Drake don't want to get into a battle after what happened the last time. But the last time it happened in this exact order, right? Where Buddy sent him some light shots. Very similar to how Nas sent some light shots on the Stillmatic freestyle, right? He sent some nice shots, smoked you out, and then Drake, the Duppy joint went hard. Like, granted, most of it was going to Kanye, but let's not act like Drake didn't bring it, right?
It's a great
Drake
song.
Brought it. He thought he had it, but he misunderstood, right? And what Drake didn't understand is that dude hates you. Right? Like, he's like, I don't even understand what the problem is. Like, what's the deal? Like, I think Drake lost a grip on his ability to recognize that someone despised him. And so he kind of, and like Jay did, he kind of acted like he was above it, right? Like the tone of the diss was very dismissive. And then what he got back was body punches. Mike Tyson level body punches. Ether, I spent a good more than 10 years, probably 15, saying that Jay-Z had won that battle, that TakeOver was better than Ether. And what I misunderstood was TakeOver was for the world. Ether was for an audience of one. And it made that one man cry. He won. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. What Push did to Drake, however, was for an audience of one, but in a way that millions could appreciate, was the height of disrespect. Sean, he's got like 5 different lines that are followed by even more disrespectful lines.
There's not like a room or inch of fat on that record that diss track.
He set everything up, and the worst part about it is he's lecturing him. He's trying to help that man get his life right. Right? He said he's getting the money stole from him, and there's more disrespect that's coming. He said your dad wears monkey suits. There's more disrespect coming. He said your mother is a loser. There's more disrespect coming. He called your baby mama a porn star. There's more disrespect coming. He made fun of your man having muscular dystrophy or multiple sclerosis. And to be fair, there was no more disrespect after that. That was the disrespect. The disrespect stopped. After that, he did that. And you know what? I love every bit of it. I love every bit of it. This is what I want. This is what I'm here for. I'm here for beef. On the counterpoint, I'm also from Houston and from the South. And Sean, outside of Memphis, you got to understand, ain't that much dissing that goes on. Because in Houston, they do shooting. Like, if your argument is, I don't engage in the diss game because I engage in the diss game, then okay, I'm okay with that. That's not what J. Cole said. J. Cole got on there like the city was on fire. Can we all get along? Can we all get along? No, man. I want you to go drag somebody out, drag him out his truck, hit him with a brick. Now you dancing. Yes, that is what I want. You can call me toxic. You can call me whatever else it is that you want. That right there wasn't. Sean, how y'all be saying it? That ain't it?
Wasn't it?
That what y'all be saying? Even you, the tone in your voice when I asked you about it, you had such scorn for it.
Well, I told you, like, I saw the quote before I went to bed, and I got to get up early for the show. And then when you brought it back up, I didn't realize that there was video evidence of what he said, and it just made everything worse for me. It just, I don't know. And I like both artists a lot. I was just really disappointed.
But I also had people hitting me with like, when this happens, it stops being about beef and somebody's going to get shot. These are not the same people. There are some people who do not need to be beefing because there will be shooting. Like, let's be clear. Those rappers still exist. It ain't J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. No, we had a chance at an all-time great battle. Like, people talk about how we never got the LeBron Kobe final, right? We had a chance at a great battle with two dudes who belong at it with each other. It could have gone back and forth. It could have been something. But all y'all had to go to therapy. Look what good that did rap. The NBA playoffs are right around the corner. Get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball, hockey, and baseball entries today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. And if you stick around for the end of the show, you'll hear picks from our producer, Sean, that could potentially help you win big. Prize Picks is really simple to play. You can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Spring is here, so get ready for the sunshine with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays offers a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They have plenty of styles and colors to pick from, so finding your next pair of shades is a breeze. Plus, if your shades go MIA or take a hit, don't sweat it. They've got lost and broken protection, so you're covered from day one. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. If you don't love your shades, exchange or return them free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code Bomani for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized glasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
We know you can't be on top of all the news and information of the day. No need for the social media feeds. We got you. Now, if you haven't heard.
All right, Bo, our first story is on Trader Joe's.
I'm Katie Natopoulos. I'm a senior correspondent with Business Insider. And this week I published a report based on Taste Magazine's reporting of how Trader Joe's is maybe not so nice, or at least not as nice as it seems. So a couple of small food brands have complained that Trader Joe's essentially has been ripping them off. And they sort of describe it as Trader Joe's acting like Shein or Zara, the way that it treats designers in the clothing world, sort of doing like a fast fashion copy ripoff version of this. So if you've ever shopped at Trader Joe's, you probably know that Trader Joe's only carries its own line of products. And the way this works is they actually make a lot of deals with big food producers, PepsiCo, ConAgra, and a lot of small producers too. And it does these co-packaging deals. So you may have noticed that the Trader Joe's pita chips are exactly the same as the Stacy's pita chips. And there's a reason for that. They're basically produced by the same place. We know that purely because there's been FDA recalls on them that affected both brands. And a couple small brands, for example, a small brand called Brooklyn Deli that makes these sort of Indian simmer sauces. It had been in talks with Trader Joe's about a co-packing deal where it would carry a version of their sauces. And they decided this deal is just not quite for us. But they had gone so far as to send in samples, send in wholesale pricing, and a lot of information about how they made the product. All of a sudden, they noticed after the deal had fallen apart, a few months later, Trader Joe's has come out with a really, really similar looking and tasting product on its shelves. A couple of other brands have complained of this exact same thing and saying that it's sort of an open secret in the food industry that Trader Joe's will just do this to small brands. So the next time you notice something kind of exciting and interesting and brand new at Trader Joe's, and it looks like maybe something that you've seen before in your regular grocery store, there's a chance that perhaps it actually is.
Hey, man, I'm not even going to lie. I appreciate Kate hitting us up with all that dope information, and I found the story very interesting about Trader Joe's. Sean, I've just been sitting over here mad at J.Cole, man. I was listening to her talk. Somebody texted me about what was going on, and I was texting back, and I just got consumed by my annoyance again.
I feel like your brain is like, so Trader Joe's is beefing with someone? Did they send a diss track or something?
But this is what I do think is interesting though about the Trader Joe's thing, and this happens is the capitalists with a heart of gold, right? Because Trader Joe's, with the $2 chuck over the years and all of that stuff, like they try to hit you like they're the kinder, gentler, right? Like we're good people, we looking out for you, we can do this, but they gangster somewhere. Like all of these wind up being like that, where somewhere they rolling like gangsters. And now we know how they rolling like gangsters. I know who isn't rolling like a gangster.
Here's the next clip that is kind of similar to what we're talking about.
Hi there, I'm Wizzy Kim, a senior reporter at Vox.com. This week I wrote about how food delivery prices have gotten so high, and I asked the question, who really needs who here? How much value do they really provide us? The delivery apps are merely acting as middlemen between restaurants, delivery workers, and hungry customers, and yet they take a huge bite out of every transaction. They can take as much as 30% of the order subtotal from restaurants, and as customers, we find ourselves paying almost double the cost of just the food after fees, tips, and tax. Meanwhile, the person delivering your food pays for their own vehicle, fuel, and other work expenses, while often getting just a few dollars before tip from the apps. When New York City and Seattle tried to change that by passing new minimum pay laws recently, customer fees in these cities went up. Some workers in New York have been reporting that they get way less work now, and app companies argue that these pay regulations are failures already, saying that restaurant orders are down and they can't afford the pay rate for workers without raising fees. But we should take such claims with a big grain of salt. Uber Eats, for example, pocketed $1.5 billion last year. One delivery driver told me that this is just apps throwing a corporate tantrum. And it might just show that they need us way more than we need them.
Yo, man, the delivery thing is so wild. Sean, I don't remember if I told you about this, but, in New York, they made it illegal to tip before you order your food. So, because basically the delivery people were seeing if there was a tip on it, and if there wasn't a tip, they were swatting it away. And so it was making people tip in advance. And so to protect the consumer, they got rid of, like on a lot of these apps, the option to tip in first isn't there. Some of them will then give you an option after you've made the order that you can then tip. But some of them make it basically impossible for you to do so. Like I've got apps that I order off of and I kind of want to stop because I don't ever have the cash. And so you literally cannot just come after the fact and add in a tip in the name of protecting the consumer. And so what I didn't realize was how many of these cats was just out here delivering for no tips anyway, given what it was. But these fees are bananas, where you're looking at like $7 in fees on a $20 order.
I had to stop using the apps because of the fees. It just was ridiculous. And I some of them don't even make sense what the fees are.
But the problem is, and this is like, it's been going on for so long and we've had these apps for so long that people miss what the point is. The point is, this is not a profitable business. Like, this was a great idea for somebody to come up with a company that you could then sell to somebody else, or you could then get to go public, because nobody cares about whether these companies are actually making any money or not. Just think it's a good deal, and then maybe somebody can figure something out down the line or whatever it is. But overwhelmingly, this is simply not a model that's made for you to make money, for the companies to make money, unless the prices get to be as high as they are. So like for me, I understand how the delivery apps can be profitable in New York City because the market for delivery is so much different because of the population density. I am clueless as to how these apps work in these other places. I don't understand how Uber works in these other places, where I call somebody 15 minutes, take them 15 minutes to come take me somewhere that's 10 minutes. I don't see how nobody making no money like that, right?
I'm afraid to use Uber in a lot of those cities because I'm like, it doesn't seem reliable. There's just not enough cars and people doing it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, none of this stuff really makes sense. Like, I've wondered when the reckoning is going to come with the delivery apps, because I just don't think that this just doesn't feel sustainable. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't feel sustainable.
No, I'm with you. And here's our final clip, staying in the world of food.
Hi, my name's Dylan Scott. I'm a senior correspondent and editor at Vox.com. And I recently reported a story on lead and lead exposure, and specifically asking, how does lead keep ending up in food that is sold at American grocery stores? You might have seen the news last year that there were contaminated applesauce pouches that led to lead poisoning for dozens of children. And just last month, the FDA warned customers that there were ground cinnamon products being sold that had elevated levels of lead, and they advised customers not to buy those products. So I posed the question to some of the leading experts on lead pollution, like, how does this keep happening? And if I were to distill it down to two things, I think the reason is this. First, even though we've done a lot to get rid of lead in the United States by getting it out of gasoline and getting it out of paint, lead is still a big problem. There's still a lot of lead pollution in other parts of the world, in lower income and middle income countries, where like half of children still have elevated levels of lead in their blood. And so one, it's persisting in those other parts of the world. And two, because we live in a world of global trade where products that are sold here in the States pass through those other parts of the world because before they end up here, there's a lot of opportunities for that lead pollution elsewhere to contaminate products that are ultimately being routed here to the United States and sold to us. And that's exactly what we saw with these applesauce pouches. They had been through Sri Lanka and Ecuador and became contaminated with lead along the way before they ended up in American stores being consumed by American kids, and leading to poisoning here in the richest country in the world. And so that was my takeaway from this reporting, was that so long as lead persists anywhere as a public health problem, it has the potential to create health problems everywhere.
Lead, Sean. Lead.
It's terrifying to think about.
Lead. I just can't get past lead. I don't even know if I paid much attention to the details. I just found out it's lead. And let me tell you something, boy. I don't know about you guys, but them cities where they got all the lead in the water is terrifying. Two of them immediately jump to mind, and they are Baltimore and New Orleans. Them places where they ain't do a good job of dealing with the lead. Hey, man, them boys are terrifying down there. We about to just have, we out here just feeding the kids lead, man. That's just a class of zombies. Zombies, I tell you, zombies. Bad news.
All right, Bo, I think your prompt, if I'm correct, is like the moment where fighting words were said that potentially stopped a fight or potentially started one.
I've been so mad at J.Cole, I forgot.
All right, we have 3 great clips. Here's the first one.
Hey, Bomani, this is Jermaine from South Carolina, and I got a story about when somebody basically let them know that it was time to maybe fight. Actually, this is a story about me. The only reason I feel all right telling it is because I honestly don't remember saying this to the person, but years later, some people retold the story, and it was just news to me. I didn't know I had that kind of thing in me, I guess. I'm in the military. I had a coworker that was a very argumentative person. He was friendly debating everybody in the shop about all kinds of random issues, and I was really tired of it, but I would avoid him anyway. But I told everybody, hey, when we go out on this next job, because we were going to like a remote location, I said, I'm going to go ahead and let the argument happen, and I'm going to shut him down. And I told everybody, I'm going to shut him down enough where he doesn't argue with us ever again, because it was just getting annoying. So I'm a man of the people, Bo. We got in the vehicle, we're driving, we get about halfway to the destination, and he brings up a topic, and I'm like, all right, here we go. So I just start arguing with this dude. And I mean, not yelling, just friendly debate, talking points. I don't remember exactly what the debate about, but I'm sure it was politics related, which I usually avoid, but this is what I'm in now. I'm already doing it for the shop, so I just got to go ahead and shut this dude down. So I'm doing a good job of that, apparently, because he is very heated. So by the time we get to where we're going to set up equipment at, we're still setting up stuff and keeping the argument going. So my 2 coworkers are watching because they feel like it's escalating on one end, and I'm still calm, cool, and collected, but they don't want it to get out of hand. They said he's getting redder, he's breathing deeper, and I'm just, you know what I'm saying, dismantling everything he's saying. And at some point, I guess he got so mad that he looked at me and said, I'm so mad that I could punch you right now. And this is the part of the story I don't remember. I must have blacked out because they said my response was, 1, my entire face changed. I stared him dead in the eye. Mind you, I'm at least 6 inches taller than this dude and got him by at least 50 pounds. And I told him, based off of your arguments today, you are not smart. But I know that you're smarter than that. And they said it was silent for about 10 seconds. And we just went back to working. And that man never talked to me again for the next year that we were stationed together. And he never picked arguments with anybody in the shops anymore either. So I guess I did my job. I really love the show, Bo. Great talking to you. Peace.
Sean, are you wondering the same
Hey,
thing that
Bomani,
I'm
this is
wondering?
Mary.
Yeah, what are you wondering?
I feel like I'd like to know a certain detail about this coworker that I don't think he gave us.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Just kind of curious what the man may look like, though I will tell you. Yeah, you are. I got to be careful. I do that a little bit too much on the internet, but I know very much so in real life that you are not smart. It requires people to go to things that they might be better at than thinking, like swinging. You don't really lead a man a lot of other options.
Doesn't that sound like a very much Drake response to a beef? You, you are not smart.
You are just not that smart. Yo, man, I can't imagine. Like, can you imagine somebody saying that to you and you know they're right?
Would shut me down. I'd walk away.
Yeah, I mean that's right up there with you are hiding a child.
We got one more voicemail. This is a really good one.
Hey, Bomani, this is Mary from Los Angeles, and this is my fighting words story. So I live with my mom because I'm Filipino, and that's just how we do. And my mom is this adorable little Asian woman, okay? She's like not even 5 feet tall. She has dimples, and she's so sweet and charming. But my mom is also country. She's from the provinces of the Philippines, and what that means is like, you know, she likes to garden. And one time, you know, I looked on the ground, and I didn't see like a rake or anything like that. This woman had left a freaking machete on the ground, okay? So that's what I mean about country. So anyway, you know, it was a busy night at our neighborhood, and she parks a couple of doors down. And we had some new neighbors who were not thrilled about that. And so they left a note on her windshield, and it read, hey, you know, please don't park in front of our house. So like my mom was not happy about that. And she goes stomping up and knocking on their door, right? Because no one tells her where to park. and they don't answer. But my mom is not done. So she takes that note, and on the back of it she writes, my name is Winifreda blank. My address is blank. And then she just left it. We have not heard from those neighbors, and my mom parks wherever the hell she wants to park.
You know, right before we started doing High Noon, Pablo told me that there were some, shall we call it, cultural similarities between my people and the Filipinos that I wouldn't have been. He told me he had an uncle named Joker and an aunt named Baby or something like that. Like he was explaining to me that that's what it could be. And I got to tell you, man, if I had been told this story before High Noon, I'd have been a lot nicer to him. If I knew it was a possibility that somebody might come to my crib with the machete and the deck like, yo, if you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I ain't realized, Sean. I don't. Did you know this? I did not know.
The more I've interacted with Filipinos in my life, the more I've realized, yeah, they're not to be messed with. But they, you know, obviously are the nicest people. It's just once you cross the line, it might be over for you.
I guess so. I did have a Filipino barber once, and that should tell you a lot you need to know. You know what I'm saying? Like cultural interplay, shall we say. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Sean, I see you. Oh, your month off is over, and you are ready to responsibly give prize picks for the people.
Yeah, I won't go less like I fooled some of you guys last week, but March Madness tonight, the men's final. Zach Edey, 38.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I'll take more. Stephon Castle, 11 points. I'll take more, and keep it simple for that game.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this here 3 times a week. That's Sean Yu handling everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Also, thank you to our If You Haven't Heard contributors. Thanks to Kate Natopoulos of Business Insider. Check out her story at Trader Joe's being accused of ripping off smaller food brands at businessinsider.com. Thanks to Wizzy Kim of Vox. Check out her story on the high cost of food delivery at Vox.com. And thanks to Dylan Scott of Vox, who tells us about why there's so much lead in American food. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.